I saw Nelly when he played the halftime show at an Omaha Nighthawks game.
Oh my god!
And it was literally like, I don't know, like 10 minutes long. It was like pathetic.
Was that after he played in the Super Bowl or before?
Did he play in the Super Bowl?
Yeah. So it's like
that. He's just doing that set.
Was using this as a stepping stone to the Super Bowl, or it was a look how far I've fallen from the Super Bowl.
I think it was after.
Okay.
You don't. It was on the Nelly downslide. It was not on the upswing of Nelly and Tim McGraw. Just hitting it to the max.
That's still a really short period of time.
Oh, I love that Tim McGraw song with Nelly though. Oh, that was
over and over, baby.
Over and over again. Yeah, dude, for sure. That was great.
I thought that song was going to solve racism, but I guess not.
No, you're thinking of what's funny is that
was LL Cool J and
accidental racist. Yeah,
fucking Trace Adkins.
Totally. No, but that Nelly though. Remember that semi-pro football league collapsed like within a year.
You can't blame Nelly for that.
I was gonna say, what if you did such a bad halftime show that a whole league folded? that would be like some Carl Lewis level halftime shit.
I mean,
everyone is just completely done with the sport.
That's like right up there with the idea that Ja Rule only did the Fyre Fest so that he could hunt people.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, it was extra pathetic because the football team played in the fucking baseball stadium. They were playing in Rosenblatt. That place is like tiny.
Right.
But the Nelly concert, everybody sits like where the home base is, and then the field kind of goes like weird and sideways. But then the Nelly concert was like in the fucking outfield stands. So it was like Nelly doing a concert for people that were like on the other side of the stadium. It was so sad.
You gotta keep him away.
I was like, I guess I think it was Nelly. They could have just said that it was Nelly, and we wouldn't have known. Like we had,
right? Seriously,
there was just a figure on stage. Couldn't really make him out.
Yeah, they should only like schedule MF Doom because he wears the mask or whatever.
Right,
exactly. That reminds me though, because before one of the College World Series games, Smash Mouth played, and it was the same thing where they were out there past third base, so you couldn't really tell it was them. And then they're playing it over like the stadium loudspeakers, so it didn't sound good anyway. And they had all their speakers down on the field, so it was like this weird echoey thing. Like you could barely make out like All-Star, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I would be shocked if there was not like a racket of like fake band bookings or whatever, where it's like you just set up the sound really shitty, and you just get people who kind of look like them from far away, and then people are like, yeah, no, it's good, yeah, it's good. They're just not very good live, I guess. Some bands are just not good live.
You should do that with Korn, or not Korn, Slipknot. Do it with Slipknot.
Yeah, because they're all wearing masks.
You can do that up close.
Do it. Insane Clown Posse,
Iowa natives.
You could exactly
to a certain extent. Devo,
Dead Mouse. You could totally do that with Dead Mouse.
Right? Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
You're listening to the Liquid Flannel Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Chuck Williams. Okay.
What happened? That was so good.
Well, it was going good, and then I got a little bit of phlegm caught in my throat.
Okay,
and then
cool.
It's okay.
No, that's all good.
Let's just
just roll it in, man.
Okay,
just roll it in.
We're still doing it.
We'll do it live.
Okay. We'll go edited. I'm Chuck Williams. Joining me in Nebraska is Brendan Williams. Brendan, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I was looking forward to one guest, but we got another guest, so it's it's evening out.
That's right. When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So, and joining us as always in Arlington, Texas, is the great Matthew Hodges. Matt, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. My day always gets better when we start recording the show.
That's right. Well, That's a long time to have to wait for your day to get better, because we record at like 8 o'clock at night.
It was a long day.
It was, but it's gonna be great. It's gonna be all right now. So,
right?
Anyways, because we've got returning guest D-Black. D-Black, how you doing, man?
So I'm the rebound for this podcast today. So
that's right.
I call you Black Lemonade.
We appreciate you, man.
That's right. You're on the blacklist.
Yeah, our St. Louis sometimes correspondent, Dblackrabbit.
How's the streets in St. Louis going, D-Black?
Nothing's actually going on right now.
Good deal.
But there could actually be a protest. It's really hard to tell sometimes.
Okay.
So better than sometimes.
If you see pillars of smoke, you start letting us know. So.
No, that's all happening in the Central West End. That's where rich people live.
Okay.
Right.
Which, we've been over that. St. Louis gets stippled, so you can have rich house, good house, mansion, possibly dirty, dead house, but
trap house.
That's far enough down. I'm fine.
Right.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, we gotta be honest. We really had the episode planned to go a certain direction, and it's not going to go that direction. So, we're going to freestyle a little bit, because there's always enough stuff going on that we can say, oh, remember hearing about that shit? So, I don't know. Some things that I would like to get into a little bit is some of the hot takes on the whole taking a knee phenomena that
swept the nation
literally for about a week here. And we can talk a little bit about what that was all about, the allegations that some of it was fueled by Russian bots, and what it really means.
Yeah, a lot of things going on with Russian bots the last couple of days.
That's right. So,
who's paying for Russian bots for take the knee? Like,
right.
What are you getting out of this?
All the rubles you can.
We advertise, we promote like a Facebook post every once in a while, and it says, for $5 extra you reach 1,200 people or something. So it's not like this is, all they need is like a couple of people to bite down on it and share it to their friends.
Well, and the crazy thing is, like, we need to get in on that, where they're like, target all the people who said like anti-Semitic things on Facebook, please.
Right.
Which is like, man, I didn't know you could get that detail. That we need to dig into
exactly.
This,
we need
really
to
target these people.
Explore this business model.
Wait, are you actually saying that we should target the anti-Semites living in the Great Plains on Facebook? Because I think that would be hilarious. We should totally do that. We should send our show.
They need to hear. If they're going to hear something, they need to hear from us.
Beastie Boys.
Right. I think
that in the background.
Right. I think that we could get away with maybe targeting everybody that loves American flags. I mean, that new logo of ours, that looks pretty...
Oh, shit.
That looks pretty wholesome.
Is it
That's right. We look very patriotic.
Flag disrespect? It's hard to say, who's, you're looking a little bit black to me, Chuck. So
if it looks
maybe...
like it would sell in Hobby Lobby, regardless of whether it's a smuggled artifact or not, then right. I think that passes as American.
What if when they took a knee, when you take a knee, you just start knitting an American flag while you're taking a knee, and then they're like, I can't. I don't know. I'm so conflicted right now.
That's Betsy Ross with the good hair.
Let's get into that. Let's end this intro.
Okay. We've got all that and more coming up. Let's jump right in.
I say we just roll through it. Why not?
All right. Yeah, that's fine.
We don't have to stop and start again.
Okay.
This land is your land, and this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me.
One of the posts I saw on Facebook was somebody holding up a shirt that said, "Stand for the flag, kneel for the cross," and everyone was like, "This is so true." This is like, thank you for posting this. And I was like,
right.
Put a flag on the cross,
Ooh.
And then see if they just like start doing like squats repeatedly, or maybe they just I don't know explode because they don't know how to act.
Right.
I mean, they put the flag on the cross a lot. Like, they usually put a cloth of some type over it.
Right.
I told you at the Husker game, there was a guy that was wearing a Cornhusker shirt, and then it had the American flag in the shape of the state of Nebraska, and under it said, "We stand with respect," and respect all caps. I hope I didn't say this on the last episode. If I did, we'll cut it. But yeah, it's like, man, you know, that's I don't know.
I love how the word respect now is used in such like a dog whistly way. It seems like
RESPECT.
Yeah, it used to be cool. You know, the
what's
R
that mean to me?
Right?
Right. So
they've really taken ownership of that one. I mean, the right is really good at just picking an extremely simple thing to just repeat. You know, emails. You know, whatever it happens to be. They're just good at just sticking on message, man. It's impressive.
It's almost like simplistic appeals to emotion are easier to brand than sort of a more intellectual, like detail-oriented sort of actual policy proposal.
Right. Where it's like hashtag respect versus like, well, the complex racial history of 500 years of American institutions. Yeah, it's tough to get that hashtag.
Although, you know who was somewhat along those lines was Dale Earnhardt Jr., which was impressive to me. I didn't realize, that dude, he's way woker than I thought he was. And it makes me actually say that I'm a Dale Earnhardt fan if he can be that reasonable about something. It's sad when it comes down to that, but, you know.
Yeah, like, what did Patton Oswalt say in response to Dale Earnhardt tweeting in support of people kneeling during the national anthem?
Oh, I don't know.
It was like, this is the conservative Kobayashi Maru, which is fucking brilliant. He's so good. Wait, do I need to explain the reference? No, the Kobayashi Maru is the problem that they use in Star Trek to talk about an intractable problem. Like, when you're going through Starfleet, everyone has to do this one scenario where no matter what you do, your ship gets destroyed. And it's supposed to show you, like, the value of defeat. And Captain Kirk cheated it. But, Dale Earnhardt Jr., right after Trump had tweeted about how, like, NASCAR guys don't kneel during the national anthem. It's like, well, aren't they like sitting in their car or something? Anyway.
Right.
You know, tweeting that out suddenly puts people in are they going to boycott NASCAR? I kind of think they're not. I don't think they're going to boycott football, frankly.
Someone else brought up that no one's boycotting football. They're just coming up with an out for why they don't watch football anymore.
Right.
And that's pretty much where I'm at, because it's like, I didn't really watch it that much to begin with. I mean, being in Nebraska, you don't really have a team.
Right.
Your team is just whoever's winning at the time, you know? And there's so many Aaron Rodgers fans. Most of them don't come from Wisconsin, except for one very special listener of the show. But anyways.
I mean, Nebraska, people are huge college football fans, but that doesn't necessarily translate into NFL fandom.
Which technically means they're professional football fans, because it's totally on par with that. And I think that was a story that we should get into at some point here. Maybe I'll highlight it real quick. Just that several NCAA assistant coaches were arrested and charged with crimes like fraud and corruption. So...
Yeah, we were talking about how corrupt and evil they were last week, and we just cracked this thing wide open.
Seriously, you know, I was thinking maybe this needs to be a Liquid Flannel exclusive or something. So, but did you get a chance to hear the Shannon Sharp take at all, D-Black, on this NFL take a knee here?
I'm trying to remember, because I'm not going to lie. I'm from St. Louis. We had the Rams, and they left the entire rich down.
That's right.
And the only college football team of worth note is the Mizzou, and I went to Rowley. Therefore, I have a natural God-given obligation to hate Mizzou with a passion.
You know, I'm with you on that. It's like, I don't necessarily hate the Huskers. I went to UNO, so I'm a Maverick. I go to Husker games, but I always wear my Maverick gear. And I just let the hate rain down on me like it's Flashdance or some shit, you know, because...
They don't even have football anymore.
What's that? Hey, it doesn't matter. I'm still a Maverick fan. I bought the ticket. I got the ticket. That's good enough. That they should be happy with that. They should be lucky that we're in a land that's free enough for them to get my ticket money. Anyway.
So what was Shannon Sharpe saying?
Well, we should definitely play the clip here real quick, or play part of it. Here's the best part.
I'm disappointed, Skip and Joy, because this is the tipping point. Of the 7,537 things that President Trump has said in the last 50 years, him calling an NFL player an SOB is what brought the NFL, the owners and its players together. And while some might be moved by the conscience of these NFL owners, it wasn't their conscience that moved them. It was the cash. Because, see, Skip, what we know about people with money, they don't like being told what to do. They don't like being bullied. You see, President Trump has bullied a lot of people. The very first thing that he uttered as he strolled down that escalator 2.5 years ago, he said, Mexico is sending us their worst. Murderers, rapists, and drug dealers. That didn't shock the conscience of the NFL's owners. Him offending Gold Star families. Nope. Him calling Rosie O'Donnell a pig. Him on the Access Hollywood talking about grabbing hoo-ha. That did not shock the very conscience of 7 NFL owners. Skipping light me a second to name those guys. One, Daniel Snyder, the guys on your monitor. Jerry Jones, Mr. Bob Kraft, McNair, Houston Texans, Woody Johnson, Shad Khan. They gave $1 million for the inauguration of President Trump. And now they seem to be shocked. Every author that's written a book about President Trump, and they started writing books about him in the 1980s, they say he is exactly today as he was then. Sure. So that is all I want to say about him. Skip. Now what has happened, because what he said in Alabama, play into it, you know what happens in Alabama, Skip. There's something that's going on in America right now that's more valuable than Google and Apple stock. It's more valuable than gold and Bitcoin. It's called race. It's very valuable. And President Trump, he understands that. But Skip, now I'm unimpressed because this wasn't a protest. This was unity. So what are we showing solidarity against, Skip? We're showing solidarity because President Trump, he challenged the very men, wealthy men, billionaires, and he told them what you should do if someone protests, you should fire them. They don't like being told what to do, Skip. And then, Skip, he called the players that protested the anthem, he called them SOBs. Think about that now. He called them SOBs. That's what got the owners. That's what got the players to unite. Is that the worst that he's ever said?
So yeah, basically he was saying it's funny that the whole NFL is uniting on this issue as if Donald Trump didn't say a million horrible things that were way worse before that.
Well,
sure.
And the fact that all these owners are taking a knee acting like it's against racism, but none of them will hire the guy that really was taking the knee in the first place for racial inequality, which was Colin Kaepernick.
Absolutely.
That dude still doesn't have a job. So all this really is they've transformed it into less of a talk about racial issues, racial inequality in America, and more of that same old, this is about anti-Trump and not about anything else. Well, and we can all unite with that.
They took the taking the knee and turned it into the ice bucket challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just it's like social justice gentrification going on in real time. It's unreal. You
Cultural
watch
appropriation.
Like hashtag take a knee, hashtag take the knee on Twitter, and you see people like, I don't know, like Scott Dworkin saying like, you know, it's so great that everyone's protesting Trump now by kneeling during the national anthem. Like, you opportunistic, simple motherfucker. That's not what it's about. It never was.
Well, it is now.
Whitlock took a knee, and he literally put Kid from Kid and Play, and I don't even know if you can count it as blackface, but I'm going to count it as blackface. He knew what was going on. He put him on and had him on the show, and then he took a knee. Fuck you, Whitlock.
Yeah, for real.
They need Riley Cooper to have taken a knee. That dude that was just screaming the N-word at a country music concert or some shit. That redneck dude.
I mean, that's the natural next step, right? That basically, like, conservatives who aren't with Trump are going to start taking the knee to represent, like, true American values, and then the whole thing is just completely diluted.
I was going to say, I'm looking forward to the day where esports, e-gamers or whatever are all taking a knee. But they would have to lobby for the national anthem to be played before their sport to begin with.
It's only a matter of time before the Defense Department comes in with their like billions of dollars or whatever that, you know, Trump just gave them like $700 billion extra dollars. So now they're like, we got cash to spare.
Right.
Esports, everybody, like, we'll just give you $1 million if you play the national anthem or whatever.
Right.
Play some join the army ads, goarmy.com, right before your
We'll buy a
esports
plane
match.
ticket for some veteran to show up and just be there on the sidelines.
Right.
The biggest compromise of America is going to be that the wall gets built, but it's a giant knee. It's just a giant taking a knee all the way across the border.
I think one of the grossest takes I've seen is from the true MAGA hats, like the true teacots, talking about how, like, well, who else do you kneel for? You kneel for emperors and you kneel for gods. Like, this is just a bunch of liberals admitting that Trump is God.
Well, I mean...
Well, because to Trump, him and the flag, they're equivalent, right? So that's why he gets so mad, is because when they're not kneeling to the flag, Trump's like, they're not kneeling to me as king of America, and he gets really, really mad about it.
Yep.
I think he was mad even before he was president, though.
Oh, he was mad about a lot of stuff.
Right. For sure.
Not a happy man, turns out.
Wait, Donald Trump, the most balanced, sophisticated thinker we've ever talked about on the show.
I also really like the take of, like, don't fall for Donald Trump's tricks, you guys. Like, he's only doing this in a calculated way, to distract you from what's really going on with Russia and Facebook bots and all this stuff.
And healthcare.
And it's like, no, he sees stuff on the TV and he gets really mad. Like, he's not really thinking about it.
Although it would not surprise me if Russia bots floated that in front of him.
Oh, dude, yes.
And he was just like, man, this is making me mad again. This thing, it's still a thing? So that I could totally see that.
Well, and there was a lot of that going on with this whole issue. There was the one tweet that kind of went viral from the, like, at Boston Antifa or something account.
Right.
Just the totally fake Antifa account that tweeted a thing out that was like, we're winning, like, social justice will win the day. Like, pictured on the left are old NFL fans and pictured on the right are new NFL fans. And the picture on the left was like, it was like a Totino's, like, My Hungry Boys commercial. And then on the right was a bunch of, it looked like sorority girls or something. Like, I'm looking at this picture going, like, I think you're trying to insult football fans by saying that, like, hot girls don't watch football. Yeah. But if I had to pick between those two pictures, I would totally watch football with the group of, like, obviously drunk hot girls.
As opposed to, like, a bunch of old fat white guys or whatever just screaming at the TV.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, when you're a Russian Facebook bot, it's hard to really get the nuances of the culture wars in America. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit off. But I think one of the craziest things is just the fact that we know Trump watches Fox News all day, but he also uses Twitter all the time. And we don't really know how he uses Twitter. So it's entirely possible that this dude's just flipping up Twitter, seeing like what's on Twitter about Donald Trump, seeing a bunch of Russian Facebook bots that are tweeting at Trump constantly.
Yeah.
And then, sending him stuff to get riled up over. And, kind of weaken America by making Trump so focused on this stupid nonsense instead of like not getting nuked to death and stuff like that.
Yeah, which makes it really funny. We talked about it on an earlier episode, though, about how General Kelly was supposed to be like controlling the information that gets to his desk. Like Omarosa got ousted or at least kind of demoted because she had a habit of like calling him on his phone or just dropping off a news article that was not flattering to him, and he would just fume about it for the rest of the day. But you've got to imagine that Kelly's job is pretty much impossible to do if that's what he's trying to do, because the guy's also looking at Twitter, which is like the worst place in the world for political news.
Right. D-Black, I think that you had a visceral reaction there to Omarosa. Would you care to expand on that a little bit here?
Don't at me. But yeah, also because she's black. Let's not lie.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, he got her out of the circle. So now what? The Russian bots have the influence now.
I think that's right. It's like them and Stephen Miller, basically. Stephen Miller is like the last person still hanging on from the original set.
And that's the crazy thing, because it's like, can you see like Trump and Stephen Miller like hanging out, like going out to dinner? Like, I just don't see that happening. Like, it is pretty nuts that his White House is in such disarray. Like, all the people who he brought in are gone pretty much. I don't know what he does all day. I just don't even know. I guess he just sits in meetings with John Kelly and gets really mad about how boring they are.
Thinks of ways that he can push this North Korea thing a little further, No, I don't know.
Okay, so all I have to go on is 80s movies. So I'm trying to think of what old, rich, racist white people do.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know, golf, sit in the country club drinking.
The dean of the school in Animal House, or like the principal in the Breakfast Club or something. Like, what did they do other than just kind of be mad all the time? That's totally what he does.
Yeah. Trump is really lucky that he is not, that he's like famously abstains from like all alcohol. He took like a sip of wine at like a UN thing, and people were like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. Right. Because Trump never drinks, because his brother like drank himself to death or whatever. But yeah, if he was a drinking man, he like Nixon or whatever, like this dude would be sloshed 24/7, man.
Sure.
Because
he also doesn't drink because you can't put uppers and downers together.
He's just taking those diet pills or whatever.
Right. Gotta get slim.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Let's what else we got to talk about? Maybe we should take a break on that and
yeah, I definitely want to go into that NCAA thing here. Let me pull that article.
Nuts.
Yeah,
this is crazy for sure. Yeah, I think we've got a couple of interesting stories kind of out of or surrounding Nebraska also that'd be kind of cool to touch on.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, maybe we can do the NCAA one as a weird like high note or something.
All right,
that would be funny.
Okay, excellent.
Cool.
There's still a place, best described in a simple word: nice. Not great, not horrible, just nice. Because every place can be summed up in just one word. New York, mean. LA, smog. Miami, hot. Nebraska, nice. Visit nice. Visit Nebraska on your way to Denver.
Basically, Luther Strange lost in the primary in Alabama to another crazy dude, Roy Moore.
A way crazier dude, actually.
Ugh.
Right.
Like,
Ten Commandment
really
dude.
Crazy.
Compare LGBT to bestiality, dude.
Yeah, Roy Moore is the guy who got removed from the Alabama Supreme Court because he wouldn't uphold Obergefell, the decision that legalized gay marriage nationwide.
Right. And then recently, Waved a Gun had a freaking campaign.
Oh yeah, that's
rally.
Right. He had his like little. It was like he bought a set of, you know, the little like Halloween costume set you can always get at Walmart, where it's like the tiny little hat, the badge, the little gun, and like a bandana.
Right. Yeah.
Cap gun.
Yeehaw!
He hawned it up for sure.
Yeah, he looked like the Toys R Us Lone Ranger up there. It was ridiculous.
So Trump throws his support behind Luther Strange.
Big Luther.
Right, Big Loser is really what it was, you know, because that blew up in Trump's face. But now...
Well, it's weird. I mean, Trump basically is saying, like, well, the only reason I endorse this guy is because, like, Mitch McConnell told me to. Because Mitch McConnell was throwing big money behind that.
Right.
So this is, like, part of the reason that he's, like, mad at Mitch McConnell. Because this Judge Moore dude is, like, the Trumpiest dude. Like, he loves Trump. His voters love, you know, the voters love this dude. Right. The Trump voters.
Oh, yeah, he's Sheriff Clark. He's Joe Arpaio. It's exactly the same sort of personality.
I mean, he was, like, thrown out of his judgeship twice for, like, refusing court orders to take the Ten Commandments monument down and stuff.
Right.
And, yeah, just like an all-around real classy dude for sure.
Right. And apparently had the support of Breitbart magazine or something. So now Breitbart and Steve Bannon are feeling empowered and apparently are looking to run candidates, their own candidates, against a bunch of people.
Yeah, they want to primary a bunch of Republicans.
Yep. Including Nebraska's very own Deb Fischer. So,
well, it couldn't happen to a nicer person.
Yeah, for the reason that I guess she's like a woman and she's just not out there like saying how great Trump is like every day. I mean, I don't even really know the reason that they would be targeting her specifically because I looked up that she voted with Trump like 92% of the time.
Right.
Right, she did. And if you look at the breakdown, the two places where she differed from him were, the first one was the bills to impose sanctions, both including
on Russia. Yeah.
She voted for that,
which were like 99% of people voted for or whatever.
Right, and then the last one is she was one of the senators who opposed Hurricane Harvey aid, because it was also tied to the debt ceiling, the 3-month debt ceiling increase.
Yeah. That's the Chuck and Nancy deal right there, baby.
And that's a thing that Breitbart should be celebrating, not attacking. It's like, they can't even be ideologically consistent what they want these people to do. They just want them to support Donald Trump.
They're ideologically consistent. It's just about very, very specific things. Mostly anti-Semitism, racism,
right.
In there. Yeah.
Right.
Like,
well, and it is crazy because they'll go to Deb Fischer and they'll say like, well, you voted the right ways, but like while you were voting the right ways, you went out and said like, I wish you would stop tweeting all the time, and they're like, that's not the right message at all.
Right.
Right. You need to support every aspect of your president.
What's amazing to me is that Breitbart and some of these other not think tanks, but like idea drivers in conservative thought haven't recognized that their governance gets worse the more crazy people they shove into governing. Like the more you fill up the House of Representatives with people who have just these outlandish views of how the government should run, the less able you are to actually get a bill through, because you end up with people like Rand Paul or any of the Republican senators who opposed the recent ACA repeal from the right, not from the left. They didn't want it to make it nicer. They thought it wasn't mean enough.
Right.
Well, and who even knows what their true motives are?
Right.
Right. This sort of seems like it might help some people. I'm opposed to anything that does that.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can't even know like why they're really voting. Is it because they really feel that way? Is it because they think it's popular? Is it because some lobbyist has given them a bunch of money? Like, who even can say, man? And
yeah,
it's crazy that to the far right, the fact that these candidates are idiotic, they don't know how government works, they want to destroy government, that's a feature, not a bug. Because that's what they want. They want people to get in there like Donald Trump and like Judge Roy Moore that just throw away rules and laws and just, enact dictatorships and Christian theocracy or whatever.
Sure.
That's their end goal. So destroying the government, disrespecting the government, that's just one other step along the path for them.
Well, hold on. Don't use the word disrespecting because that now has a political meaning. Which means apparently go along with whatever the government says.
Don't be uppity.
Yep.
Just don't be so black all the time.
Seriously. Be thankful for your right or the privilege that we've bestowed upon you,
Absolutely.
to make money and not be shot unless the police are scared of you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you literally got people out there saying like these black people should be so thankful that we let them play football for millions of dollars or whatever, and, like ruin their brains with repeated concussions.
Well, and these are the same people
because they should be out working the fields or
whatever the free market will bear. If you can't make a living wage at your blue collar job, that's just the market making the decision. But when it's black guys playing football, they're like, these guys, clearly the implication is they have too much, right? Because they're getting paid enough that they don't get to ever have an opinion on anything.
Right. Or the argument that it's like they're ruining football by kneeling because people are going to watch and the ratings are going to go down. I mean, that's Trump's argument, right? And it's like, that's an argument against the free market. Like, he's like, we should force them to do what is most profitable by throwing their rights away.
Right.
Yep. I'm reminded of that Russell Brand quote where he said, when I was broke and I was talking about income inequality, they told me that I was bitter. And now that I'm rich and I'm talking about income inequality, they tell me I'm a hypocrite. It's almost like they don't want to talk about income inequality.
Right.
Right.
Right. Well, it's like they don't want to talk about systemic racism. So anybody who's protesting systemic racism, well, they're just disrespecting the troops,
Right.
And it's like, this isn't the time or place. This isn't the right way to do it. When they're out in the streets, breaking windows at Starbucks, lighting trash cans on fire in protests, people say like, this is horrible. Why can't they protest peacefully?
That's certainly not the time or place. Do it peacefully.
Right.
Like by kneeling at a sports game. Or, wearing a T-shirt at a sports game or whatever.
And D-Black, I know that you have strong opinions about this, but the comparisons that people make to Martin Luther King Jr. in this discussion, where they're like, why can't you be peaceful and respectful like MLK was?
And I will say the same thing I always say, which is people act like MLK died of old age, surrounded by his families, falling asleep.
Seriously.
Well loved by all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Certainly
his
never
reward
was
for
investigated by the CIA or, the FBI making calls to his house trying to get him to kill himself or anything like that.
He also didn't block traffic. They didn't block any businesses. And he certainly
for sure.
always condemned violence.
Yeah, that bridge in Selma was like disused, right? That no one was actually trying to use that. That was just like off in the they'd built a new bridge and that was just the one that they picked for. It was like having a concert.
Dr. King, he's very respectable, so he just kindly walked into the permit office and said, "Hello, I'm the famous Dr. Martin Luther King.
Right.
Can I please have a protest permit for the black people?"
Right.
Certainly, sir. That's how it went down. I learned about it in history class.
Dr. King, I presume. Yeah, I heard about that shit too.
Everything happened with an English accent, like a posh English accent for some reason.
Yeah. And was so nonviolent, so...
Well, and they have those surveys and stuff which showed, like, in the 60s that something like, the same numbers as now of like white people being like condemning the civil rights movement and say, oh, they're all, just uppity thugs or whatever.
Right.
And of course we look back and say like, oh, what a crazy time. People were just disgusting and gross back then.
I totally would have been on the right side back then, because that was, like, man, look at these racists.
Right.
Right. Also, Kaepernick should sit the fuck down.
Right. Be like, they should be thankful,
Right. We didn't even stick the dogs on them yet, like we did before.
Seriously. They should be thankful for they're not
Well, but
slaves.
they kind of did, though, because D-Black, you posted a story just earlier today about there was a protest there in St. Louis over the weekend, right? And just another one of those examples of. Anyway, I'll let you tell the story.
All right, so there was a protest at I'm gonna say West County Mall, and the cops started arresting everybody, and by everybody I mean black people, because they grabbed a 13-year-old kid who was going to shop.
Yeah.
And so what then happens is the natural chain reaction, which was his grandmother sees him getting caught, jumps on the back of the cop. The cops wrestle her down and then arrest her for obstruction of justice for not arresting the 13-year-old literally just shopping.
Jesus.
Right. And you got the cops out there literally chanting, like, whose streets are streets, while they're walking around doing their jobs at cops. And you're like, black people shouldn't take a knee during the national anthem because, like, they're at work, keep your protests out of the workplace or whatever. And you got cops arresting people, chanting like these like cop power slogans, like we own these streets. Like,
right.
It's just, I struggle to comprehend the mind of the Trump supporter that says like, well, yeah, that's fine. Like, of course, but the kneeling, like, oh, it's just too much. Like, I just don't. And that's why it's racism, because that's the only thing that makes sense.
I would jump in and be like, excuse me, officer. Technically, the taxpayer owns the streets. And then, just get mobbed on.
Right.
Whose streets? Literally my streets. Like 0.08% of like this, like 45 square foot concrete patch. Yeah.
Like they all but literally said they had the juice.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Well, right. And I saw this story where they like arrested this dude who was like a filmmaker who was like down there like getting footage, and they like roughed this dude up, and it's like what are you even doing? And that's why it shows that like when this whole thing started, we were like, hey, maybe if we all get body cameras, like this will really fix some stuff. Like once people can see it, then they'll finally change their mind.
Sure.
And it's like you just have video after video of just the most blatant injustices, like down in St. Louis, and it doesn't change a damn thing.
Literally planting a weapon on somebody that you just murdered, caught on video for the whole jury to see, and yet acquittal.
Right.
Yeah, and the public outrage continues to be mostly in the black community, and like the outrage against the outrage is taking the form of people who are posting memes on Facebook that are like three black athletes, like football players, crouching, saying like, our rights don't go away just because we're at work. And there's this like little white baker over to the side wearing like a Christian cross, or I think it was actually literally labeled like Christian Baker. It was like, can I join your protest? It's like, A, no, and B, what the fuck? Like, what's the matter with this comparison? Like, what right is the baker losing? Like, you've turned this whole thing into just this general grievance. Like, we have a grievance against something that society is criticizing, and therefore they're the same thing.
I can actually explain this fairly simple. What's really going on is that white people, especially very straight white people, really hate it when you tell them no. Like, if you tell white people no, they blow up. And literally what Colin Kaepernick did was like, no.
Right.
By refusing to do things white people want you to do, you're not giving them the satisfaction that they own you. As such, they just blow up.
bitch.
Man, and it's totally true, and I don't think it's a problem for like me and Brendan to be able to admit that either. And these same people will talk about like people on the social justice end being way too sensitive. You know, they're the snowflakes. They're the ones who lose their shit when they're criticized. And they'll simultaneously say like, look, if you're not doing that, then that's white guilt. You know,
well, they'll simultaneously say at the same time to say it's too far to kneel during the national anthem. That's disrespecting America to do that.
Right.
But what's not disrespecting America is erecting a 50-foot Confederate monument.
Right.
You know, in the local park.
Right.
That's not disrespecting America somehow.
Flying those flags.
Well, and I can bring this home a little bit. Because the park where the big General Lee statue stood down here in Texas was also up for being renamed. They were going to go back to calling it was like Orchard Hills or something, whatever it was before they renamed it Lee Park when the statue went up. And so KERA, our local NPR, was out there interviewing people. And so many people were saying, look, it doesn't have anything to do with race. This is to respect the men who fought for our country. The men who fought for our country in the motherfucking Civil War.
The Confederacy, right.
D-Black, you all got some Confederate monuments down there in St. Louis?
Yes, I think the one in Forest Park got taken down, but the guy, like grandson who put it, the original guy who put it up, was at one of the protests, and he's like, "Yo, no, it's about history and blah blah blah."
Right.
Oh, dude, I saw a crazy story. How far are you away from the Ozarks? Probably far enough, but
Ozarks are probably about an hour and a half, maybe 2.
Okay,
that's not bad.
There's a bar down there in the Ozarks where this bar owner bought a Marshawn Lynch jersey and a Colin Kaepernick jersey, and then fastened them into a doormat that said Lynch Kaepernick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, but it's not about race though. It's not a racial thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to make they want to twist this into a racial thing, but it's not.
Listen, we just said we were
my whole family.
I mean, it's
my whole family are veterans. This ain't race.
Right.
We're lynching for the troops.
He's like, I just love. Lynch is just my favorite player, and also I just love rope tying. That's just a hobby of mine. Like, I don't know why you make a connection here. These liberals, man, they're such snowflakes, man. You just takes just one little thing, one lynching joke, just sets them off. Unlike these strong-willed conservatives that can just weather the criticism of someone not paying attention during the flag honoring ceremony.
Like Baked Alaska, whose sole job on Twitter is to narc out anybody that says anything halfway violent about him. I want to punch that dude in the face. Hey mods, can you see this? Or admins.
and also to try to get the traffic cops to come over and arrest a sorority chick who smacked his phone out of his hand and broke it.
And they wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and they wouldn't do it. Yeah. It was like, "You're the cops, aren't you supposed to be helping me?" And they're like, nah.
Oh god, we gotta play his "We Love the Cops" song.
Man, phone personhood, man. It's the next step.
Right. Which is great because I always thought that song, he literally made a song, an auto-tuned song about how he loves the cops, when I'm in a jam, I can call 911, or like so when I'm on the run, I can always count on 911. And it's like, dude, if you're on the run and it's not from, like, I can't imagine a scenario where I'm on the run and it's not from cops.
Right.
Like, I can't call the cops and say, "Hey, some cops are chasing me."
Like, and I think situation where you are actively on the run either means A, you committed some kind of nefarious deed and possibly done something like, I don't know, run out on a plug.
Yeah, exactly. Something that deserves being on the run.
Here's what I think they should do. All of the NFL players should say that they're kneeling in honor of that like white nurse from Utah that got illegally arrested by the cops or whatever, just to really throw them on their toes, you know what I mean? Because that's what it takes for conservatives to fully really comprehend, like, a white lady the cops were mean to a white lady? Like, what?
Well, there was that
this
that
is
gal
a problem.
That got shot just a couple of months ago, who, I mean, she was, a beautiful white blonde. She wasn't even American. She was Australian or something.
Oh, that's right.
But because the cop was black or
loophole.
He was Muslim or something, it
Somali,
game on.
Muslim.
All the above.
Yeah. The cops.
Well, I think that's a perfect time to bring this out on a high note, you guys.
It's time. We
gotta get low before we get high.
Right. And don't get too low because we may not be able to get back up on this one. But we'll try. Okay. Tune in to find out.
We love our cops, our law enforcement. We love our military, they're important. We love our cops, our law enforcement. We love our military, they're important. And when I'm in the jam, I know that I can call up the man with a plan. When I'm on the run, all I gotta do is dial 911. We love our cops, our law enforcement.
Yeah, so high note, I guess we're gonna go around the horn.
For my high note, I was gonna talk about how Donald Trump finally got off his ass, changed some fucking laws so that ships could start taking supplies to Puerto Rico.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really the most uplifting thing, but it is pretty amazing that like people like Mark Cuban and even Pitbull,
I was gonna say, yeah,
are stepping up. When the president is not doing his job, you got to call Cuban and Pitbull, the ultimate Team America right there, flying their planes down.
I mean, he is Mr. Worldwide.
That's right. Worldwide, Puerto Rico, that's kind of still America, but yeah, worldwide, sure, we'll give it to him.
That's right.
When you're helping out.
If somebody wrote a pulp buddy cop thing called Cuban and Pitbull, it would get rejected immediately as like way too on the nose.
This whole presidency is just
Turner and Hooch.
It's the worst writing ever. It's bad. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad that some help is happening. It seems like it's real messed up down there still. Trump seems like he doesn't really like Puerto Rico that much, and he's yelling about how much debt they have on Twitter rather than like how much they need to be helped right now.
Well, he was yelling about how much debt that they had, but also yelling about how with whatever that act was that he had to temporarily suspend to allow this to happen. The Jones Act. He originally was like, no, I mean, I have a lot of friends in the shipping industry that don't want that to happen. Like basically saying that it was about money. Yeah. Like literally saying that.
Yeah. Hurricane relief? How about shipping company profits? Like, let's focus on the real issues, people.
Exactly.
So that's my fake high note. Who else has got something that's better than that? I hope somebody's got something.
Well, I guess mine's, equally fake, but equally is somewhat empowering. Jared Kushner, it turns out, was voting as a woman or registered to vote as a woman, which to me is kind of woke in a way. I mean...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's a high note.
That's Jared Kushner's drag alter ego, Jared Kushner.
Jared Kushner impersonating Jared Leto. Boom. There we go.
Yeah, no, I think my favorite part of the whole Jared Kushner story is just continued evidence that maybe the guy literally doesn't know how to fill out forms.
Right.
Like somehow he has like a cognitive blind spot for like checking the right box or filling in blanks on forms, because that's not the first time he's messed up a form. All of his financial disclosure forms were also like, he just doesn't know how to do forms.
Seems like he might just be a goddamn idiot.
Yeah.
Right.
Today, the guy who was sending prank emails to Trump people got an email from Kushner's lawyer that was like, whoa, the Senate Intelligence Committee just sent you this crazy letter about all the private emailing you were doing, Kush.
Right.
Oops, sorry, accidentally sent this to a prankster instead of you.
Right.
My bad.
Even the lawyer's letter is like, it's too bad we had to find out about this through the press and not you, but it would be great if you could send us all of your private emails too, because otherwise we're not going to be able to defend you.
Amazing.
Who do you believe?
All right, well, somebody's got to lift us up. We're getting a little bit better.
Okay.
Inch by inch.
Well, I can tell you, I don't know if it's going to lift us up, but I can tell you about something that lifted a bunch of other guys up, which is sex robots. That's right. I'm coming back to my favorite topic, sex robots, because they are hilarious. It's like the weirdest thing that's happening in society. And there's this article from the BBC, headline, sex robot sent for repairs after being molested at tech fair. So basically, there was a tech fair in the UK, and this group that's working on sex robots, like highly lifelike artificial intelligence sex robots, brought their model. According to the doll's developer, Sergey Santos from Barcelona, the people mounted Samantha's breasts, her legs, and arms. 2 fingers were broken. She was heavily soiled.
Ew.
That's hilarious to me.
Ew.
Like, what the fuck did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, is this at like a tech convention or something? Yeah.
That sex bot shouldn't have been wearing those jeans.
That sex bot was literally programmed to be asking for it. I mean,
it was literally programmed.
That's so digitally misogynistic.
Yeah, man. I mean, I guess people who want to spend thousands of dollars on a sex bot, if they want to like self-select themselves out of the dating scene, maybe that's for the best, really.
I'm a little concerned about it. I think that the guys who really want these things for companionship or whatever, sex bots are not going to be good for them. That's like the opposite of what they need.
They're going to be so expensive that that people are just going to be like renting those things by the minute or whatever, like in the digital brothel or whatever.
Right.
Ugh.
Well,
I don't know.
That actually happened during World War II. This is a weird comparison to make, but the Nazis actually had like the first like multi-use like sex bot. They had a mannequin that was made up. They called it like Ingrid or something. It was like a state-of-the-art sex doll that their soldiers could come in and have like a romantic 20 minutes alone with like a Germanic-looking.
I'm afraid to Google this. What is state-of-the-art in 1940s technology?
Oh man, no, it's horrifying.
Okay.
It's only slightly less horrifying than the ones that they're making right now, though, because those are creepy. I mean, super uncanny valley.
I've got a new business plan, guys. What if you combine Showbiz Pizza and the robots with the sex bots? You get 2 audiences there. Boom.
As long
Best
as they
of both
sing
worlds.
like bad covers of 80s songs, I'm
Right.
down.
Cockafire explosion.
I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure I've seen that Dojin for Five Nights at Freddy's. It doesn't.
Right.
Well, D-Black, you're my only hope, man. You gotta rescue this. Do you have something that's actually good? Good news?
All right. Yes, I'm going to get into some really nerdy things, which is that Magic the Gathering is now on its excellent set, which takes place in a weird Aztec plane.
Ooh.
All right.
And vampires are conquistadors. But no, this is about the main, one of the main characters, part of the Gatewatch, named Jace. And Jace is now officially an anime character. Because he is clearly somehow starting a harem. And he's already got his... It's weird, because he has 2 tsundere character love interests. And by tsundere, I mean they're trying to kill him.
All right. I mean, it seems like the fan base there between Magic the Gathering and anime has got to be... That's a decent overlap, right?
Yeah, I can see that. But he wakes up on the beach. He's lost all his memories. Again, it's like the 5th time. He's a mind mage. He's supposed to be able to control other people's minds and mess with memories. His memory's been wiped like 5 times. So he's on a desert island. He's like, you know what? I need to build a boat. So he builds a boat. And that boat, doesn't work. He literally lands on another desert island. Rebuilds the boat. That boat also gets destroyed. And then he gets picked up by pirates. No, wait, I forgot. He lands on a 3rd island before he gets picked up by pirates, covered with birds.
Wait, the pirates, the island, or the guy are covered with birds?
The island is just
okay.
teeming with birds. Birds of paradise everywhere. But he gets picked up by the pirates, and then he hears the pirate like captain talking, and it turns out to be this Gorgon named Vraska on Jace's main home plane, Ravnica. He kind of got her kicked and banished from the entire plane. She's a high-level assassin. Very admittedly, she's trying to murder him.
Sure.
She finally gets to see him, and he's now just scrawny, sun-bleached, covered in bird poop. And she's like, I can't even fight this guy. This is just pitiful. Pretty sure that's the beginning of the next love arc. It's gonna happen. Shipping will happen.
All right.
This is in Magic the Gathering?
Yes.
How is the story portion of Magic the Gathering conveyed through buying packs of random cards? How do you get the story from this?
There's flavor text. There's in the old days there were books. So for the first half of Magic, there were literally books saying, hey, this is Ugin, this is what he does, this is Karn, he got created this way, Karn lives a really sad life.
Do you get a graphic novel when you buy the starter pack? Is that how they get you to buy the random card packs? Is you're like, I gotta figure out what happens next. I gotta get these random cards.
Right, it's only giving you little chunks of a story.
No, they get you to buy random card packs because you can pull $80 cards.
Surely there's some website though where people are posting all the flavor text where you could fill in the story.
But no, so now they just do it by articles. Yeah, if you go to Wizards page, they have weekly articles, which is just random snippets of the story. So there'll be things like, this is Alicia, she's a trans dragon leader. One of the funny parts is that Wizards has been trying to actively diversify. So there's a lot of characters that have now just started showing up. There's a trans warlord.
Oh yeah, sure. And those diversification efforts have not been met with a whole lot of enthusiasm by a certain subset of Magic the Gathering players, right? The same group of people, the Gamergate, you're trying
Yes, and that's because they don't know about clearly the one true hero.
Damn. Well, that's the craziest shit I've ever heard, man. I played Magic the Gathering back in the day, and there was lore for sure.
Right.
But I've been out of the game for a while, and it definitely did not get that in-depth from what I recall. That's amazing.
Something for Magic fans to get excited about.
It's been deep for a while, and it's almost always hilarious when it's deep.
Yeah.
Because they're not the best at story making, so every so often just weird, crazy things will happen.
Well, I know that Wizards owns D&D and Magic, and they have a D&D spin-off that takes place in the Magic the Gathering universe.
They seem similar enough that you could do that kind of overlap. Plus, all the rules lawyering, which is all anybody who plays a board game ever wants to do.
There you go.
You play the game in order to argue about the rules.
It's the best part.
Right.
Maybe that's how you and your lawyer friends play.
Yes, that's basically Magic. There's something called a stack, and the thing you first learn about the stack is just don't learn about the stack. Just don't. Just stay at your home, play on the kitchen table. You guys can pretty much figure out the stack. Then you don't have to figure out all right, so who gets priority now?
Right.
Can I do this now? Can I do it after that? Can I do it again?
Right. I had a hard enough time learning casual play rules where it's you just play with your friends or whatever, much less insane ass tournament rules where there's banned cards and banned strategies and
right.
You got referees there.
I'd bought a pack of cards when I was in junior high, and I remember I never played a full game, but I did argue about the rules. That's the only thing I remember is arguing about the freaking rules. I don't remember playing a full game.
Yeah.
That's just what you do in Magic. You have to argue about the rules because you got to make up weird bullshit combos to win somehow.
It just seemed like it was made up shit. And I was like, man, this can't be right that you can just make up a way of winning right in front of me, so.
Well, and that's when you know how to play and you're teaching someone else to play, even if you try to play it real and you're like, well, this is just the rules, because that other person doesn't know how to play, they're just like, this is some bullshit right here.
Yeah.
This dude's just wrecking me right now.
Exactly.
There's always phasing. Phasing is the worst thing. Because phasing is all right, it's not in the game anymore. It's gone. It's disappeared. It will come back on the next turn. All right, so I'm going to tap it. You can't tap it. You phased it out. That land's not there. You can't tap it for mana. It's gone.
So it does become a board game because you would have to have markers for all of that. At a certain point, you're just playing a board game. It's not a card game anymore.
Well, and that's why I think Hearthstone has really perfected this, because you don't have to know any of the rules, because the game just basically, it won't let you do something that's against the rules. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think that thing's caught on so much. I played that for a while, but it was too much. I couldn't keep up with it. You gotta play every day, and that's too much of a commitment.
The beauty of playing Magic in real life is that I can literally threaten people.
Yeah, the Hearthstone emotes are not good enough.
Yeah, man, if I'm going to play a card game every day, I'm going to go on PokerStars.com. I'm going to get my cheap-ass sunglasses, and I'm going to win like $5 every once in a while.
If I was playing for money, I might as well just be getting up at 6 in the morning and hanging out with old people playing Pai Gow.
Well, we should wrap this up. What do you think? D-Black, is the don't at me still in effect? We can't tell them where to find you on Twitter?
I feel like I should probably still say don't at me.
What you should do is read about the crazy shit that's going down in St. Louis and maybe educate yourself about what's going down. Because I feel like people paid attention a little bit, but they immediately forgot with all this other NFL shit that was going on. But
right.
It's still popping off down there.
Pray for D-Black.
You know what? Yes, you can add me this time. I'm ready. You can add me.
All right.
Okay.
All right, man. Where can we find you on Twitter?
That'd be at Dblackrabbit. That Twitter, whatever.
All right. Cool.
Whoa.
Awesome. You heard it here first, folks. Don't abuse that privilege, or we'll come for you.
I don't think our fan base is racist, but you never know who's out there.
Yeah. I don't think that they are. I mean, they've seen me. They see me around.
I don't know why racists would want to listen to our show. We make fun of them constantly.
Right.
They want to listen and change their minds about how racist they are. Like, I support that.
Absolutely. Well, they can all find us, whether they're listening or hate listening or racist listening. They can find us pretty much everywhere on the internet, starting with YouTube. You can find us at Twitter at liquid_flannel. Look at our Facebook page, like that, share that with your friends. Follow us individually on Twitter. You can find me at Shaggy2Trope. Brendan, where can they find you?
I'm at Brendan Williams with 1 L.
And Matt, where are you at?
I continue to shitpost at Matt the Great with a W.
And don't forget to like us on iTunes and give us ratings over there. And yeah, that'd be great. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Thanks for hanging out, D-Black. Coming in.
Yeah, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, dude.